I'm going to talk about something, even though it might feel uncomfortable to sit with. And that is, how does the same man get seen as a prophet, a protege of Jesus Christ, worthy of undying loyalty, and yet he's seen by others as someone who used power in ways that feel deeply wrong, like Jeffrey Epstein wrong? I'm going to talk about Joseph Smith. And before you shut this down, this isn't political, and it isn't about attacking anyone's belief. This is about understanding how perception gets built in the mind. So if you were born inside the system, raised inside the system, or even if you converted into it, Joseph Smith isn't just a man. He is set up as a man to be praised. Praise to the man, the restorer of the gospel of Jesus Christ. He is chosen by God, protected by angels and priesthood power. He's revered as a martyr for the Lord. After all, he gave his life just like Jesus Christ did, a lamb to the slaughter. And this means one thing: the position he's expected to take in your mind has already been decided even before his behavior is examined. So anything uncomfortable gets explained, all of it gets explained away. Like, God commanded it, and God's ways are not man's ways. And sometimes God asks his prophet to do things that seem immoral, but it's our job to trust and obey and have faith. I think people just misunderstood Joseph. He was being persecuted. The times were different back then. Satan just didn't want the restored gospel to roll out on the earth, and so these angry mobs are trying to destroy him and spread rumors about him. And just like that, that story stays intact. Joseph gets insulated in the mind as someone that we must protect at all costs. But the moment someone steps outside of that system, the order tends to get reversed. There's an inversion that takes place. You start to see things that you weren't allowing yourself to see while you were under that religious influence. And now the question becomes, what did he actually do? And who did it actually benefit? And we're taught, by their fruits ye shall know them. In the church, we were taught that his fruits were the restored gospel. And when you leave that framework, you start to see all of the troubling fruits, because you're no longer immune to your bias. And suddenly people start noticing things that they couldn't see before, that his authority couldn't be questioned, that his private behaviors were justified, even told they were divinely sanctified. And they start to consider stories of the outsiders as critical thinking and naturally justified rather than persecution. They can see all the relationships with women that he was forming inside the dramatic power imbalance. And they see how the members' undying loyalty is used to protect the narrative. And here's the uncomfortable truth. When you remove the title of sacred, or that sacred label, from Joseph Smith, you're left with the man who claimed access to God and asked the people to trust him because of it. Not to mention, this was a time in American history when, the only business more lucrative than religion was horse thieving. And that's where the split happens, because some people, even after over 200 years, still see devotion to Joseph Smith, and they associate it with faith in God and Jesus. And then others start to see a pattern that feels a lot less like prophecy and a lot more like unchecked power. And here's why the comparisons can get extreme. When people bring up figures like Jeffrey Epstein or Sam Bateman, Warren Jeffs, Ron Hubbard, they're not saying the stories are identical. They're reacting to something deeper. They're reacting to the pattern of power plus trust equals access to the people. And that's what they're naming. They're naming a control dynamic, not a pathway to spiritual enlightenment. And once you can see that pattern, you can't unsee it. There's no way to put that recognition back into a tiny box with a bow and try and call it faith. This is not a battle between truth and lies. It's a battle between lenses. Just moved my glasses. Right when I was going to say that. One lens protects the meaning that was given before the behavior was checked, and the other lens examines the behavior before they're willing to give it meaning. And those two lenses do not produce the same reality. So the real question isn't, was Joseph a prophet or was he a predator? The real question is, what are you willing to see once the story you were given is no longer the filter in which you're willing to believe? You guys, it's a wild and sometimes really messy deconstruction. And if you need help navigating the post-religious world, reach out.